Welcome to the Miami Herald Business Show. I'm Niala Boodhoo. With the islands of the Bahamas just 80 miles off of our coast, it's no wonder that Bahamians usually spend more than $1 billion a year in South Florida. But with much of the Bahamian economy dependent on tourism, those numbers are bound to be smaller this year. Last week, Bahamian Prime Minister Hubert Ingraham was in town for the Americas Conference, where he outlined some of the challenges his country is facing. Ingraham talked about how unemployment in the Bahamas is more than 14% right now, the highest since the 1990s, as well as a new government program to provide temporary work for more than 2,000 people. I caught up with him after his speech to talk about how the Bahamas is weathering this current economic crisis.
We're seeking to do a temporary job program so that we don't add to the permanent payroll of the state, and we would find a number of essential things that should be done to society for people to do. For instance, we hope to be able to impact significantly on early childhood education by engaging a number of people to be teachers' aides for the early ones in school, and to cost them to have a head start that we just, generally speaking, can't afford to give on a regular basis. So we think that this year will be a good year if I was a first grader in a public school system in the Bahamas.
And how long is that program meant to last?
I don't expect it to last more than 6 months or so, but it's not a permanent program, but it's going to last 6 months or so. Florida represents a big slice of our American market in terms of visitors. In fact, I think that you probably represent the largest portion of the highest percentage of visitors to the Bahamas come from Florida.
You mentioned hotels. There's been a few hotels that have closed recently. What's sort of the government's reaction to that? What are your thoughts about that?
Oh, disappointed, but there are limits to what governments can do. And one of those things is that it's unable to ensure that people travel who do not have the means to travel. And so we have this lean period that we're going through. September is usually a bad month in terms of travel. It is particularly bad this month. But we've been along this road before in 2001, up to September of last year. Things were going fairly okay in the Bahamas. We didn't have a terrible first half of the year as compared to what we had expected. The reality is that we and the Americans are joined at the hips, and as America goes, so will the Bahamas.
For the Miami Herald Business Show, I'm Niala Boodhoo.